Hello, I'm Hillary Richardson, coordinator of undergraduate research, and I'm doing this recording because our interest meeting from the 5th of February was canceled due to tornado warnings. So this is what we would have talked about. I'm still happy to answer any questions people might have. You can send me an email or a phone call. I'll be happy to talk with you or your class or whatever. So let's just jump in. Okay, so what we'll talk about is what you need to know about the Undergraduate Research Conference, how you can submit a proposal, what's in it for you, and how you can prepare to present. Anybody can submit a proposal to the Undergraduate Research Conference, no matter what your discipline is, no matter what experience you've had. You can submit you can submit a proposal, period. Anybody. Obviously, this is an undergraduate research conference. So there are submission deadlines. February the 17th is the first deadline. The conference date is April the 3rd. The conference will be at the library. It'll be between usually mid-morning to the afternoon, followed by a reception. And we have a website where you can submit your proposal, and I'll go to that website in just a minute. So how do you submit that proposal? There is a form online, and it will ask you what kind of submission you're submitting. There are three kinds. There's an oral presentation, which is about a 15 to 20 minute reading, usually from a script or a paper. And you can have a PowerPoint presentation to go with that. You can have other visual aids as necessary for your presentation. There's a poster presentation in which you will design and print a 4-foot by 3-foot poster, and there's about an hour's worth of presenting that you might be expected to do, depending on how many people approach you for your poster. So when you print your poster, you will have it set up the day of, and there is a time slot for about an hour in which you'll stand next to your poster. Evaluators and other standers by will come and you will explain what's going on in your poster, what you have done, etc. And finally, there are things that kind of go outside either of those boxes, which we're calling performance, installation, or creative reading. So if you have something that you've created, a music piece, a short story, an art exhibit, etc., a cooking demonstration even, you can have 15 to 20 minutes to both perform or prepare that performance, installation, cooking demonstration, etc., and then explain also the research that informed that piece. There are rubrics online that kind of walk you through that. And then there are three kinds of submission categories as well. So a proposal is you have designed a research project and you have done the research for that project, but you have not completed all the phases of the research. So for instance, maybe you've done a lit review, or maybe you have designed an experiment but not completed the experiment. A short-term project is you have done the research and it has taken you about 3 or 4 months over the course of the semester, we'll say. And the third category is you have done a long-term project. You have done it for longer than one semester, so maybe a year, maybe longer. How do you submit a proposal? In the form, which I'll take you to in a minute, there you select those categories that we just talked about, and then you have to submit an abstract or a 150 to 250 word proposal that is descriptive in nature. And an example from last year's conference is here. This is in the 150 to 250 word range. It's descriptive, so you do not have to say all the things you're arguing. You just kind of want to give a preview. This one says, this paper is an analysis of the Harry Potter series and how it pertains to the world of superheroes. That's very clear, descriptive introduction to what the paper is. It's a reading of a paper. It includes a comparison of the development of the series and the main character to the overall development of the world of comic books. So that first 2 sentences gives a very clear introduction to what this presentation is about. And then the next section, which I've colored white, kind of talks about some more background context, including this compilation that she's using, or he is using, to compare, to base the research on. And then in the end, the part that I've marked green, however, in this analysis, I will take Richard Reynolds' definition of a superhero and argue that the universe of Harry Potter bears a heavy resemblance to the world of superheroes that we are used to. So a very clear, descriptive proposal that uses some kind of research as its crux. So, yeah. Let's go to that website, and I will pull up my page here. This is muw.edu/OUR. If you hover over conference and click on participate, you'll see here sort of a summary of the things that we just went over. There are the submission types. There are the submission categories as well. And they are all also in this submission form. Before you click on the form to submit, though, I do suggest going to the resources page, which you can also do by clicking on resources over here, and seeing what sort of things your presentations will be evaluated on. So all submissions will be evaluated on the quality of research and the presentation. But for some, for posters, creative works, art exhibits, performances, etc., there are additional categories. So for instance, you want your poster to be eye-catching, to have a clear title, but not too much text, and so forth. You want an art exhibit to be unique or original, but also link between research that you've done already. So forth and so on. If there are any questions about this, I'm happy to answer those or talk about what you think your research could do to make the most of these criteria. So yes, I do suggest checking that out. Let me go back so we can look at the form. So once you have sort of sketched out an abstract and you've decided what categories you're submitting to, and you've looked and you've gone over some of these resources, you'll click here to access the online submission form. This first part is just your name, your email, your department, and your year and your major. What kind of research, what category of, I'm sorry, not what category, but what discipline you're submitting in. If you want to present in person, so showing up here to present, or if you want to do it remotely, we'll be in contact with you if you select remotely to talk about how that will look. I'm presenting to you remotely, so you might do something similar to what I'm doing to participate in the Undergraduate Research Conference. You'll want your title. I suggest having a title that is both descriptive and kind of interesting sounding. A lot of times people will say such and such, colon, description of what I mean by such and such. That's an option, but not mandatory. And then it says first author, and that means if you're doing this by yourself, that's you. If you have several people that you're working on this with that are also students, you'll want to type your name here for the submitter and type in the number of co-authors you have. They can also be present for this, but we only need one submission per project. And here is where you write kind of a proposal that describes your presentation, like the one that we just went over. This is the research category, so proposal, short-term, long-term. And then you would want to list if you have a standing conflict on Fridays, which is when the conference will be, so that we don't schedule you during a time when you're busy at work or in class, etc. So let's go back into this presentation. So what's in it for me? I have a fun little GIF that, oh wait, it will show up. Okay. Presenting in a research conference looks great on a resume or CV. it's a simple thing. If somebody sees that you have worked on a really intensive project or done a lot of research, and you've not only done this work, but you have been able to communicate it to audiences outside of your class, outside of your professor, you're already impressing people. If you win an award, that looks even better. You can write on your resume or CV, first prize winner in this category. And then you could win money. Each prize winner wins money. There's my GIF. I think the lowest prize is $100. So yeah, you could win money. What's better than that? And then here are just some guidelines that I give people on when they're preparing to present any kind of presentation. You saw the resources page with how to present. We also have a research poster guideline page that's linked here. It's under our research guides under research poster. It shows you how to think about designing a page. There are videos there about what goes into a poster, what doesn't go into a poster, how to select images, how to include graphs and results that are clear and eye-catching. And then what you need to do to print that poster here. To print a poster at Fant Library, it is $5 a linear foot, so about $20 or $15, depending on how you orient it. And you can't find a cheaper place to print than here. So yeah, check that guide out if you're thinking of doing a poster. I suggest that everyone who's presenting wear something that makes you comfortable but also confident. So that generally is sort of business, attire. Something that you feel comfortable in, but also you look professional, you look confident. Something that makes you feel good in what you're wearing, but also shows other people that you've come prepared. And then the biggest piece of advice I have for people to present before they do that is to practice their presentation. If you record yourself, you are your own worst critic, so you will find what things that you need to work on in your recording. But also be nice to yourself. And if you have a friend or a mentor who is able and willing to give you time, say 15 to 30 minutes, you can do your presentation in front of them, get their feedback, and revise accordingly. And then also I think it's worth your practice to time yourself. So you won't go over, you won't be too short. You do have a time limit in your presentation, and time will be kept pretty steadily so that everybody has plenty of time to give their presentation. We don't want one person taking 30 minutes and then chopping off 10 or 15 minutes of somebody else's presentation. So you will be timed. Time yourself before so you know what that feels like. And then, of course, practice again. Lather, rinse, repeat just means do it all over again. Record yourself and time yourself and practice. If there are any questions now leading up to the presentation, leading up to the submission, at any point, I'm here to answer those questions. Hillary is my name. My phone number and email address are here. The website also has good contact information and resources as well. So feel free at any time to ask questions. And I look forward to the submissions this year. I think they're going to be some good ones. So I look forward to it. Cheers.